Hey all, it's John, aka Whiskey and Sand, and I'm back with another episode of Boilermaker Mondays. So this is the last of the collaboration shootout that we've had over the last 4 weeks. This is going on number 5. So and then I'll be running a little tally of how things went, what my basically what my choice of the bunch were, and that's based on a number of different factors, obviously. So whether it be an everyday drinker or not that we drink every day, but I'm saying if you had the choice of an everyday Boilermaker pairing, which of the bunch would you go for? Would it be a special occasion, seeing how they paired up together, and other different factors as well. So I'll be running that total, and I will be doing a blog on all my socials about that. And then we'll be moving on to another chapter of I wouldn't say a shootout, but it's more like just a Scotch Malt Whisky Society run of whiskies that we'll be pairing back with particular beers, which is a sort of like a mini challenge that's been given to me from the society. So why not? Anyway, we're going to get back into the last of the collaboration shootouts, and I'm going to be going with something that I enjoyed last year, and that was back at Tassie Whiskey Week, where I went past the Lark distillery, and I was able to get my hands on one of their Wolf of the Willow collaboration Boilermakers. So I tried the 2019 beer match with the whiskey, which was Wolf Release number 2. So this year we're looking at Wolf number 3. So that is this little, and I will say a little sample here. So, and I had a little bit into it, so it's had a little bit of airtime in the bottle, which I think was needed with this particular whiskey. So, and it's been a while since I've revisited that, so I definitely will need the refresher on that. But this JSP, love that accent that I put on the pay. JSP, which is a Johnny Smoke Porter. So it is basically a real, like, it's an Imperial JSP, which is automatically, hearing Imperial, you got to know that it's going to be a much stronger stout or a porter. So, and this definitely has a bit of gusto behind it. I know that much. And if it's anything to go off with the older release that they've done with Wolf of the Willows, that was I'm pretty sure that was over 13%, and that was epic. It was such an epic, like it was almost like a meal on its own. That Johnny Smoke Porter or JSP. So I'm gonna get straight into it because I've been hanging for this. Really have been. So I'll pour it, let it do its thing. Right. So, now I really should have done a fresh up on the info on this thing, but I didn't. Slack of me, which shows just how impatient I got with wanting to hurry up and drink this already and just get straight into it. But so with these guys, they all right, now I know there was a little bit of controversy. I cannot talk tonight. My goodness, it's happened again. It's always a Monday night thing. I seem to struggle to talk, so it's a real wonder how I'll continue for as long as I have with doing these sessions on a Monday night when apparently I still can't talk. I just need to have a drink already so I can start relaxing. Okay, there was a small ring of controversy around Lark Distillery with their recent releases. Look, it's, and depending which way that you want to look at it, personally, it's all about the juice that's coming out of that bottle. A lot of people will say, yeah, that's all good and dandy, but we want to know what we're drinking. So we want that level of transparency where you're straight up front and honest about us with what we're drinking. Now, this on the label it's clearly written down that it's from our Bothwell distillery. So now Lark also own they were bought by AWH, Australian Whisky Holdings, And under that banner, they had Overeem, Lark, Overeem, Nance, and I should remember what the other one was, or I think that was the only two. But they ran under that umbrella. Now, Nance, I think, is still under that umbrella. Overeem has recently been bought back by Jane and Jane Overeem, Mark Sawford, and they're operating Overeem as Overeem now, no longer under that umbrella, under the Lark umbrella, and so they've still got their hands on Nant Liquid. So, but because it's not written down on the label as Nance, people have kicked up a stink about it, and you know what? Rightfully so. You can argue that point. That should have been a lot more clear about it. But you know what? Me personally, with Aussie whiskey, well, then again, with most whiskies, with me, it's about the juice. It's about the liquid, and I've been impressed with their stuff, especially, and like they have stated that it's from their Bothwell distillery, which you automatically know that it's going to be Nant. So. So, long story short, people will say that it could have been labelled differently. But we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about Boilermakers. So, now, knowing that it is Nant juice, or knowing that it's from their Bothwell distillery, they've got that slight profile of theirs, which is, they've got like a tropical fruit element to it, and citrusy. So that's their signature, backbone, if you want to call it that, with regards to their whiskey and what to expect from their spirit after the maturation period. So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at 49% ABV out of this particular whiskey, and the beer. JSP is 12.8, I think. Yes, it is 12.8%. So now I remember on the nose to the and to the sip, this was so savory, very savory, and just full of all that goodness. So this was Wolf of the Willows in Mornington. They do like an annual collaboration with Lark with regards to their getting their barrels with their matured spirit drained out of the barrels, sent to them, and they'll make their beer back, their beer to go back with it. This time round, they've done the maturation with the beer first into the barrel. They've sent the barrel across to Nant, and then then Lark has matured their whiskey in that barrel that's been seasoned with the JSP. So now we should have a different range of nosing notes and flavor profile as to what we're used to with previous Wolf releases through Lark. So, but this I know has always been consistent with regards to just being big, bold porters. So, without any further ado, I'm going to get stuck into this already because I think I need it. I'm pretty sure I need it. My voice box definitely says that I need it because I'm struggling to get words out at the moment. So maybe I might relax my tongue a bit and I can be able to get some words out properly or more relaxed. Yeah, already heaps of savoury on the nose. Like your chocolate malt's definitely there. Lots of coffee, but there's hell of a lot of wood influence, but like heavy charred oak influence from a barrel. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be a meaty one, that's for sure. All right, without any further ado, let's do a beer wash first, and we're gonna get into a whiskey rinse and see how we go with that. My Mo really has to learn to stop getting in on the act. But you know what? No regrets. Alright, now that I've wet the whistle, I'm going to have another sip of that. Also because it's good juice. All right. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a high ABV. Definitely a high ABV porter. Definitely got a smoked element about it. Chocolate comes in on the finish afterwards. Yeah, fine. There's coffee on there, which you'll also get as well, like an espresso coffee. But the more that finish comes through, and drinking this at a relative, like when it's chilled, yeah, sometimes these darker beers tend to shine a bit more at, I won't say room temperature, because if you're in a warm room, you're kind of screwed. And to my palate, the warmer beers start to taste a bit more like piss. Not that I've drank piss, but that's a typical saying that we've got in Australia, where if it's a warm frothy drink, it starts looking like piss. So you can only imagine that's what it's going to taste like. But these darker beers tend to shine once they drop in temperature a bit. So once they start to warm up a little bit, then all of a sudden you start getting all these different flavors. So not to say when it comes out completely chilled that it can't be enjoyed. It's still awesome to have on its own. But this, because it's got such a high ABV on it, it's starting to carry a real good solid finish and savory notes coming out. So almost the invite for like that bacon note on the palate, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to get on the beer rinse afterwards. So I'm going to jump into having a whiskey rinse first now, and we'll see what comes of this. So on the nose, this has definitely got that tropical fruit element. That's first and foremost that I get. It's nice and fresh. It's light, citrusy. It actually has really nice nose on it. Really nice nose on it. It's quite the summery nose. Little bits of spice that you get onto it. I'm running out of nose capacity, or like I'm running out of air capacity to breathe in and just keep nosing this thing, because I do want to keep nosing this thing. Yeah, that's very nice and summery. Very nice and summery. A little bit of marzipan I'll get on the nose as well. All right, let's have a drink. Right, that malt drive definitely comes through on the finish. It's got a real cool finish. Um, okay. Yeah, get like pine, like yeah, it's almost get the feel of like a rum cask finish out of this thing. It's real. It's really vibrant, very fruity, super fruity, actually. And citrusy like that orange peel. That's the kind of citrus note that I'm getting on this thing. But yeah, heaps of that nuttiness is what I'm also getting on the finish too. Which, yeah, quite consistent with what's on the nose, but the malt drive comes out like heaps of malty notes. And now the nose starts to open up a bit more, obviously, because I've got that note. Oh, I've got those the whiskey on the palate now, so now my senses are really starting to open up to it again. So now I'll be curious to know what this does with whiskey wash and a beer rinse, which I think is where this pairing is going to shine the most. So and now I'm starting to get chocolate coming through on the nose on this thing, which I believe will work really well with the JSP. Beautiful. All right, so let's try that again. So let's go whiskey wash first, and then we'll go into the JSP on the beer rinse. Yeah, that's coating the pellet really well. Super tropical fruity. That's nice. Truth be told, I actually wasn't sold on this thing. When I first opened the bottle, I actually thought it was a bit flat, but the air over, like, you could still taste like the fruits and citrus, but not as big and bold as what they are now. Like now they're really coming out, and I think the airtime in the bottle has really done a good number on this thing. So, and that's just off the 100 ml bottling as well. So if you got your hands on the bigger bottlings through Lark, then don't, yeah, and you get your hands on this JSP as well to have as a Boilermaker. You may feel a little bit let down, I reckon, on the palate at the start with this particular bottling. Give it a bit of airtime. Give it a bit of airtime. Maybe it may take that little bit of water as well if it's a bit too much on the palate for you. But you know what? If you're getting into this particular pairing, you're automatically going in knowing that it's a higher ABV. It's going to be big and bold, and there's going to be a bit of a story to tell. So this one is all about bringing that fruit salad into the dark chocolates and the roasted coffee beans and whatever other savory elements that are going to come out of it, which I believe are going to come out right now as I have the beer rinse. So let's see how we go. All right, and there's that signature pea ham stew note that I got from the pairing last time, which is like that bakery savory, bacon savory note, which is what I picked up on the last Wolf release. Probably not as big as what it was because that was like massive pea ham stew or pea ham soup, and but that bacon note is right there now. On the finish, it's coming through. It's a very sweet and savory pairing. This is so it's definitely a contrast. Definitely a contrast. Boilermaker pairing, and that gives you that tropical fruit element that I won't say masks anything in here. It does kind of blend in well with it. But one thing I do notice is that this pulls out a lot of stuff or makes a lot of savory notes come out from that particular JSP. So it's very chewy, very chewy. It just sits on the palate. You're just like, give me a knife and fork and serve it. Put it around and just get stuck into it. It is that kind of, it's that kind of pairing. So this is actually really nice. I do enjoy this, and I'm so glad that I tried doing this pairing. Once I've gone down in the bottle, I honestly feel that that's made the difference because opening up this bottle at the start, I don't think it done the spirit justice. So now I believe it has. So yeah, that's actually a real nice pairing. So, and this is a pretty cool beer. I know that much. So I think you guys have done an absolute winner with this particular Johnny Smoke Porter, and I think it was a good choice on the on using the Nant whiskey or the Nant New Make Spirit to come out with the Wolf release number 3, because that is super fruity, really super fruity. So I'm gonna say that these pairings over the last 5 weeks have been big hitters, massive hitters. They've all got their own strength. They're all got big flavors about them, massive flavor profiles. and they've all like they haven't been light ABVs in the slightest. So it's all about the massive finish. It's all about the big hits of flavors. So and it's up to the consumer as to whether it's it's a war with is it a clash of big flavors trying to mix together, or do they complement each other? Do they contrast with one another and join harmoniously? What do? Do they cancel out certain aspects and bring out certain elements? This actually does a bit of contrast and a bit of cutting, or a bit of cancellation. So it's it's a bit of a journey. This one, it's a bit of a trip and a good one at that as well. So definitely worth it if you can get your hands on it. I know I was fortunate to grab these cans from Purvis Beer in Richmond. Yep, Bridge Road, Richmond. So I know they've still got a handful of cans left. So if you're quick enough, you can still get some. Now there is a difference as well because they do have a smaller can version of this with their Imperial JSP, but it's not barrel aged with Lark Lark whiskey in it. So that's you have to look out for. Actually, if you can see, I'll probably show you on this one. You'll probably be able to see it a bit better. So Wolf of the Willows has obviously the wolf as their main logo. Now Lark has that little bird as their main logo. So when you see the wolf with that bird on the shoulder, that's the collaboration. So that's what you're looking for. Now the JSP, that's Lark Barrel Aged. The little yellow bird's right there. So that's one that you're looking for. The other one is just I'm pretty sure it's a blue or a purple can, but that's their normal Imperial JSP that they make, which is a lighter ABV than what the barrel aged JSP is. So, all right, I'm going to probably wrap it up there now. In the YouTube, or actually across my socials, I will end up putting the results actually of this little shootout, and I'll be doing a whole heap of tags as well. And yeah, it's been a real fun little exercise for myself. So it's I can see myself doing this again probably. I'd say next year when more collaboration whiskies and beers become available. And I think you'll start to find that they're going to be a lot more popular and a lot more widely known and widely released. So, because Boilermakers are starting to get a bit of an appeal as of recent times, I'm seeing a lot of people doing a lot of pairings, and people are talking more about collaboration work. So we're going to be seeing some fun up and coming collaborations from different distilleries, different breweries. So all I can say is keep an eye out, and as has always been consistent with me, I implore you all support local. So when they do their releases, stand behind them, especially now during in particular in Victoria, now that we've just started really opening, letting a lot of these restrictions go, and whiskey bars are finally open again, so we can start getting into these bars and enjoying whiskeys and beers amongst company and friends, and talking with staff, and getting advice, and receiving that knowledge back about what they're drinking, what's in the bottle, what's behind the labels. So support local, continue to do that, because honestly our industry needs that. We rely on that, and if it wasn't for us getting behind our suppliers, our bars, our the breweries and distilleries, there'd be no industry. So keep up the support, and keep drinking responsibly. So next week we'll be starting off the Scotch Malt Whisky Society pairings, which will be a little bit of a challenge for myself because I have not had the luxury of getting stuck into these samples as yet. So I thought that I'd leave that for next week. So there are 5 selected drams, and that's what I'll be going through each week. And yeah, I will be letting the guys at SMWS know how I went with it all. So that should be fun. Well, thank you all very much for joining me for another episode. And yeah, appreciate the continued support as well on this channel too. As I'm fastly approaching 20 episodes, which may not seem like a great deal to some, but it's a big deal for me. So the fact that I've continued running this for as long as I have been, I hope to keep running these episodes for a lot longer. So as long as there's whiskey and beer around, there's going to be plenty of pairings that I can potentially come up with. So yeah, keep the support coming, keep the suggestions coming as well, and keep the challenges coming as well. So if you think that you're finding it hard to come up with a pairing for something in particular, or you reckon it just might be a curly one for me to try to get my head around, well, feel free to message me, inbox me, whatever, call me, email me, but you can find me on the socials through Instagram as Whiskey and Sound, through Facebook as Bearded Whiskey Drinker, which is my personal page, which is open to the public, but feel free to add me there. And I'm on a fair bit of the whiskey pages and also the craft brewery pages as well. So, and like, share, subscribe, support. Thank you all once again. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you next week on Boilermaker Mondays for another episode for a bit more fun. Have a good night.